you got some fresh flowers, right? Well, you want to make them last, don't you? I got a few tips for you. Whether you buy them for yourself or you got them for someone else, when you have fresh flowers, you want to make sure you get the optimum use out of the beautiful view of those flowers, right? I, for one, love fresh flowers, especially hydrangea. When I get hydrangea, I just want to hold on to them as long as I can because they're just that beautiful. There's so many colors. They're one of my absolute favorites. I have a few favorites, but this for sure is one. When I get them, the first thing I do is I pull off all those big leaves that are on the bottom, and I trim this one already, but I'm just going to show you here what I do is I line it up with the glass that I'm going to put it in. For this one, since I have one stem, I'm going to use a small glass. I kind of line up where I'm going to trim it, and then I go from the bottom of that glass because that's where I know the bottom of the stem is going to hit. I'm just going to show you here when you trim, don't do it straight like this. Do it at an angle. Let me get a little closer there. You see that? So just trim at an angle, and that opens up all those, whoa, that flew across, that flew across the room. It opens up all those little pockets in there that absorb the water. Now, there's those DC sirens. You can't get away from those. It's like a lullaby these days. You always hear the sirens. Anyway, so now, actually the way that one's sitting, I really don't like that too much. So I'm going to trim this just a little more so it sits down in that glass, in that vase or vase a little better. I say vase where I'm from. Anyway, there you go. Now usually I don't really go for the green, the leaves hanging off of there. That's not really my thing. But if they're up high enough and they won't be in the water, then you know what, I'm going to even trim this a little more. This is part of trimming flowers, right? Getting them all ready to go. Sometimes it takes more than one try. But just remember when you do, oh, isn't that perfect? Look at that. Just remember when you do this, you can always trim off more, but you can't trim off less. So just do a little bit of it at a time to kind of give you an idea about what you're gonna need. Now, best kind of water you can use, I haven't put it in here yet obviously, but room temperature water is what's best, or lukewarm. Hold on, feel a sneeze coming. Don't you hate when that happens? You think you're gonna sneeze and then you don't. Oh, that one went away. Okay. Anyway, you fill up your vase with room temperature water is what's best. If it's too hot, you're gonna end up damaging the flowers if the water's too warm, and you certainly don't want it too cold either. You don't want to shock your little flowers. So room temperature water or a little less than lukewarm. Do your best. Just do the test when you're filling it up. Put your finger in there and see how the water feels. Now, there is a wives' tale that putting a penny in there is down in the vase, helps your flowers to last longer. I have to say, I've never had a positive experience with that. If you have, hats off to you. Good for you. But that has never worked for me. Now, something else you can do is, a lot of times when you buy the fresh flowers, you'll get this little packet of food that you're supposed to put in there, and it dissolves in the water. It's really like this super fine powdery mixture. Put it in there, okay? So, fresh flowers, that's the way to go. I'm gonna show you one more time the way I like to trim with some daisies. Aren't those cute? Aren't they just so pretty? First thing you do, remember, like I said, take all these leaves off. These leaves are kind of gross on here. They were probably in the water. Again, you don't want the leaves in your water. Sometimes if you can use big, like on tulips have really pretty leaves. And if you know that you're gonna be changing the water, if like only a day, you can actually use the tulips in the vase and kind of like rim them around the inside of the vase, and it's really pretty, but you gotta change that water like right after that. Change that water within 24 hours because it will get gross. Speaking of changing the water, you do need to change your water in your vase every 2 to 3 days to make sure that the flowers are getting fresh water. The more you change that water, the longer your flowers are gonna last. If you use a clear vase, it's not gonna be hard to tell when you need to change the water because it's gonna start looking murky in there after 2 or 3 days probably. So make sure you do that as well. That's another simple little tip. Another thing you can do to make sure your flowers last longer longer. Make sure they're not around a whole lot of heat. If they are in direct sunlight, make sure they're not in the direct sunlight for too long, or especially by a heater or a vent. That's definitely going to compromise the length of time that you get to enjoy your fresh flowers as well. Now, I'm going to get these trimmed. So I have another vase here. Fun fact, this one I got the first time I lived in Washington, D.C., and I worked at a startup TV network, and as I was leaving that job to go take my first on-camera reporter job, a girl who I worked with gave me this vase, and I've had it, and I've held it dear to me since then. Her name was Tracy, and I haven't, believe it or not, talked to Tracy in years, but I still have this vase that she gave me, and I love it. And it got a little chip on there. I don't know how, but I love this one. And this little vase I got in Savannah during the time that my family and I spent down there. So these things are really special to me. I love little vases. So again, I'm going to hold this up to, this one's kind of angled. Now this one is a little trickier. Sometimes you have to trim the flowers a little, you know, at different lengths, but I'm going to start with this, and I know by looking at this, it's going to stop right about there. You see, it's a thick bottom vase, so I'm going to trim these flowers at an angle, like I said, right about here. So I'm going to hold it up for you. And there's my angle. I'm going to let them fall, clean them up later. Where's my cleaning crew? Yeah, right. Okay. That'd be me. All right. Pop those in there. Oh, look how pretty that is. See? Isn't that just a bunch of happiness? Boy, that was good the first time around. I didn't have so much luck with that first one. So, look, there's that little one all by itself. That's not going to do too well. So, there you go. Look, there's one. So basically the idea is clean them up when you get them in water as soon as you can, change that water regularly, and if you get the flower food, make sure you put the flower food in there. That's it. Gorgeous flowers. I'm going to get these filled up with water so you can, or so I can enjoy them a little longer. And another fun fact, we're actually filming a few episodes, so I'm going to see these, or you're going to see these in the background in different spaces on the set as we film the rest of our episodes today. So, thanks for checking in with me today. Hey, if you'd like to see a few other videos, how about some more like little tricks and tips that I use to make life a little easier? I'm gonna put those right there, and a subscribe button. Is that right over there somewhere? Well, go ahead and click that too if you wanna subscribe. I'll let you know every time I upload a new video. Thanks for checking in with me today. I'll see you next time.